right, hello everybody and welcome to today's lighting critique. We're going to be taking a look, we've got a bunch of different projects to look through. We've got 5 of our glorious Academy of Animated Arts students online here to go through some stuff. Carolina is on live. We've got a lovely animation here for her. And so we're going to start with this one. We were just talking about it. It's a lovely 23-second long animation, which is great if you're an animator. You can get all your performance stuff in, but it's a really tough ask because you've got like 850 frames to render here and possibly multiple layers and AOVs and stuff. So Carolina, correct me if I'm wrong, we've seen some stills of this shot before, but this is the first time that we've seen the animation, correct?
Yes.
All right, great. Oh, your audio does sound better. Andre's audio tips work. That's great. Let's talk it through. Like, what are the things that were, like, I know that we'll talk about the volumetric light, but like, I just want to hear from you, like, what you think was successful, like, what did you find worked and didn't work once you converted it to a fully rendered animated shot?
I think, for example, in this part, when she comes a little bit closer to him, I think maybe the light should be reduced, maybe adding a block or something, because it's kind of like she's moving and the light is the same. And for example, the volumetric light, I don't like it. I don't think it's working. At first, maybe I think it does, but when the camera opens, I don't think that it's working.
Yeah.
I don't know how to solve that.
No, it's great. So you're right on point with all this stuff. Like and this is what happens, right? Like, it's so funny because like we saw the stills and I was like, oh, that volumetric light is working really well, and then we see it in motion and it doesn't, because the thing is like, I thought some of these rays were being cast off of her, and and looking at it again, it's all being cast off the objects in the room. So what you want is your character to interact with the rays of light. You want that to feel like a dynamic thing that's happening in the scene. You want her to be engulfed in that. And where your head's at is exactly right. Like, when she moves from this location to this location, something about her lighting should change. I actually thought, because I don't have the audio here, but like, it depends on what she's saying. I actually thought that having her step more into the light, because it looks like she's getting more dramatic. So you can actually either go either way with it. She can either step into the darkness and then like she becomes a little bit more intense in those moments, or she steps into the light and becomes more contrasty. So we have to do something to get her to read that emotion at that moment of the dialogue that she's delivering. But you're absolutely right that it should, like, this stuff should be dynamic as she's moving along. Also, there's something happens here at the end, just like technically, like it looks like the volumetric light is like stuck to the camera as we move down, so just watch out for that. So for your, one other thing I was noticing while we were playing through, just there's something about the layering of her hair, like with the plant back behind it. Like, it kind of, just look at that in the comp. It's something about her that cuts through her hair. But, which is, again, totally normal. Like, you layer stuff together in the comp, you're like, this is working great, and then you play it all out and you're like, nope, it did not, I forgot about that part. This thing has an alpha that it shouldn't have, or something. That was actually one of my favorite things in lighting, is like when you have one frame, you're like, man, this looks dope, and then you see it just fall apart. You're like, oh man, okay. So the biggest thing for your volumetric light is to integrate it more into the performance, into the scene as a whole, and that, like, again, have it interact with her movements, have her step into the light a little bit more. I think the lighting on the foreground character is good. I think that your overall color scheme is good. I like the fact that I like the overall value in the deep background back over here. I think we could get some more shaping left to right. Like, I think it could be a little bit brighter on this window and fall off a little bit as we go across the room, just to kind of match up a little bit more closely with the foreground. It's one of those things, now that it's a longer shot, we don't have as much wiggle room with pushing those super darks back there. We have to kind of get that to line up to the amount of light that's coming in here. Should match somewhat closely to what's going on back there, but but it's okay. Like it could just be a little bit. It could be darker than the foreground, but a little bit brighter of the light coming through the window. And then for the foreground, it's all about getting this character to interact with that light and feel and allow that light to be a part to really kind of like enhance the performance. So it could be like either she's in darkness here and you rotate the light so it's more hitting in front of her, so that when she steps up, now she's into it, or tighten up the radius at the beginning so it's only hitting her here, and then as she steps forward, then she goes into the darkness like you said before. And then what you can do actually, give me just a second. Someone actually, sorry about the recording, I'm going to pause this for a second, but somebody just rang my doorbell. I'll be right back. I'm so sorry. All right, sorry, just a package. Okay, we're back at it. So I think like getting that light and the volumetrics to play into the action, the sequence will be really beneficial. And then and then when she comes over here, it should feel almost like it's like a rim light on her. You know, it's like hitting her more from the side at this point, because like I see it on her back and stuff, and it should feel more side lit at this point. So it's really about getting it to look good here, pop there, here, and then as she steps forward here, and then over here, and then back here. Like, so there's 4 kind of master areas that you need to look good and distinctive. So when she's standing back, when she's standing forward, when she's in profile, and then back over here. Generally speaking, too, a couple things that could help. Like lightening up her eye whites a little bit would be good, just to get her eyes feel a little bit blue and a little dark. And the dress itself, while it's a nice satin, it feels a little bit too perfectly smooth. I would just get a little bit of like a fabric texture in there too, if you could. Maybe like see if that helps the dress. Just something in like the height or the roughness, or to kind of break up that because it almost looks like metal now. Yeah.
Yes, it has a texture, but I add a little too much the noise.
Yeah.
It was bothering me watch it. So, yeah.
Right, cool. But yeah, no, I think but like it's a good base foundation. And yeah, as long as you have mattes for the eyes and teeth, like her teeth look a little blue here, so just like and a lot of that will you don't want to adjust the lighting too much for that. It would just be a matter of tweaking in the composite there.
Okay.
Cool. All right. Good stuff.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, right, Ash, you're on here. Okay, so are you able to unmute yourself? Because I wanted to talk through this a little bit here with you.
Yeah, I am.
All right, cool. So the problem that you're having is it looks like you've got your volumetric light here, but then when you turn on the fog effect, it doesn't actually do it. Is that true?
Well, no, they're 2 different renders. Essentially, when I have the red light in there, and I do the volumetric atmospheric volume on, then I get kind of a nice fuzzy glow with the red light. But the same thing when I turn off the atmospheric volume and I turn on the fog, that's the way the red light shows. And there's nothing different in the settings of the light. They're the same. The only thing I've changed is from volume to fog.
Okay. Yeah, there's some, so like, so generally speaking, yeah, the atmospheric fog, the environment fog in Maya is, like I said, I tend to do that as a totally separate like file and just render that out separately. And then
a separate file.
Yeah. So what you want to do with that is just use that to, like I as a separate file, I would almost just make all of the rest of this stuff like cut out. You know what I mean? So it's just like everything else in the scene is black, just so you can add in the fog into in the composite, and then when and then you can use that as a separate element that mixes in here, and then the red you can try and get the red glow in it. Like that would be best if you could do it in Maya, But if it doesn't work,
Okay.
then I would do it in the composite and add like a red glow in the fog in the comp. At least maybe even just at first, and then we can figure out technically why it's not working. But ultimately, like, you don't want to do like this as a render pass. It's too much stuff going on. There's like the highlights on the leaves and what's going on in the character. It's like you just want it to be fog and everything else is black, so you can add it into your other thing. So because that's what happens with these like complex shots. You look for individual elements that you in each render, like, and lots of times either it's AOVs or your final render. You want them just to contribute individual components that you can then layer together in the comp, so you can you can really define the look of it. It's chasing an unattainable goal sometimes to try and get everything in the render.
Okay. So as far as getting that red on the rim for the character goes, all that I should do in the volumetric pass then?
No, so that's actually, there are two different components. That's a great question. So your red and your volumetric should just be focused on the volumetric. And then separately in your lighting, separate of wherever this light is in the world, I would create a spotlight that's the same red color, that's maybe probably not. I would just like is positioned somewhere back here in the environment to shine on the character and get a nice rim light on him. And then maybe a little bit of red light on the ground around, so it's not like just totally isolating on him. But basically the idea is, and it doesn't need to be positioned right here, it's all about just like whatever looks good that makes it feel like this light could be shining on the character. Because what it is what you're developing is an image that's a combination of natural and artificial. Like this red light is very artificial. It feels like Hal's eye from 2001: A Space Odyssey, right? Like it feels like something nefarious, like there's something robotic in this scene. And because of its addition, it feels like something nefarious is about to happen to this character. And so what you need to do visually is you want to connect the two of them together, right? You want to be like, this thing is going after him. So the red is now on him. So he's like in the danger zone of whatever this thing's going to do. And it's focused in on him. So it's just like that, just telling that part of the story, connecting the bad thing to the thing, to the bad thing that could happen to the character it could happen to.
Sure. So to just get more clarity, the volume, the atmospheric volume that I have going on the upper part of the image will be a separate path. Lighting itself would be a separate path. Fog would be a separate path.
Yeah.
Okay.
All volumetrics, hazes, fogs, all that stuff I do separately because it's like you can see it like this one. It's just like it just like dumps it everywhere, all the same thing, and you want to create more variation in there, and it's just easier to do that in the comp. Like if you get like Z depth with it, you can either increase it or decrease it as you get close to camera. So it's you're gonna want to comp in this look a little bit because like in itself out of the render, especially out of Maya, it just looks flat and kind of not that dynamic.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah, no problem.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, cool. All right, Cora is not here, so we will come back to that. Darwin, Gisella. All right, Miguel, you are here. Okay. And then, yes, and then other than Miguel, did anybody else have anything to review today? And then I'll go back to everybody else. All right, cool. All right, so let's take a look at Miguel. So, Miguel, I love what's outside the window. Great addition. Let's see. The one thing about this is, like, if I step back and look at it, because now we've lost the brightness coming in that window, like, if I'm looking at it, and again, I just do my little trick to judge luminosity, which is just dropping a black color over everything, and then changing the layer operation to color. So the spotlight, the lamp is bright, but everything else kind of is a mid-tone thing. And because what I'm reading is when I'm looking at this, I'm kind of just missing like some brighter elements in it. Even this light, I feel like could go brighter. And so when I look at the levels, do it again. The levels, you can see like everything is more towards the darks, which is fine in a night scene, but you want you want to get a little bit more of the brights in there. So I think, let me just push this up a little bit. So just like getting a little bit more of those brighter elements in there could be helpful. And you see what it does, and then what it does to this light is it takes it from a difference between seeing the bulb and the area around it to kind of just like making it a little bit brighter. And then what you can do is then you can glow that up. It's a little bigger. Not that. Blur, Gaussian blur. My Photoshop is running slow today. All right, you can kind of blur this and then add it back over the top. Now it creates a little bit more glow back there. Maybe just kind of glow it up around it a little bit. So it's just got like a little bit more, don't want that down there. A little bit more, like, it just, because there's a lot of like the same elements in the air, the moisture or whatever that's causing this to be like a volumetric light would still be the same things in the air over there. So you'd want a little bit of volumetric back around that as well.
Okay.
Yeah, and then in terms of, let me get my pencil. And then in terms of some other elements, I think that I would, even though it's probably physically accurate or not that far off, I would soften these shadows just a touch. They feel a little bit hard lined, and just because it doesn't match with the mood of the scene, which is a little bit softer and glowier, and same thing with the shadow over here, assuming those are coming from the same light source, just to kind of create a little bit more softness. The pictures inside of everything help out a lot too. I'm trying to think if adding a little bit of depth of field will help, but it's tough because we're kind of trying to view a few, like this is kind of a focus and this is kind of a focus. So maybe no depth of field on there would be good. Anybody else have any thoughts on this while I'm looking at it? Yeah. I think just pushing the brights a little bit more, getting a little bit more glow in there. There's something about the haze. You know what it is? I think it's making the sky look a little bit too bright out there. So I'm like, okay. and basically, I mean, we'll go back to the original, so it won't just be like what I toned down. But it feels like it's brightening up the sky. And so maybe it's like, I would say maybe just take down the value of the nighttime sky out there just a little bit. Just to kind of get that, because it feels almost like daytime out there. Yeah, and then continue to try and work specular highlights into things in the surroundings too. Because there's some areas where it works really well, like again, like in the picture frame and especially on this. But there are other areas like the door and then kind of in the foreground here that we're kind of missing, and then kind of in here too. That it would be great to get a little bit more of that specular glancing angle stuff in there as well.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I looked at that and I saw it and I was like, I still need to work on that.
Yeah, it's like an endless struggle, especially in these like night or scenes when lots of stuff's in shadow. It's just like continuing to push as much as you can to get shaping in there without adding too much diffuse light to make it look like it's actually in light. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, great. All right, we'll take a look at some of these other ones now. First up, we got Cora. So this one's pretty straightforward. We've got a difference between smoke or no smoke. And I'm open to people disagreeing with me on this one, but I actually think that no smoke works better. I think that this one kind of creates a little bit of confusion up here between the smoke versus the cloud versus the mountain. Like it all just kind of muddles it up a little bit. I think this is a much cleaner composition. And then in terms of the rest of it, I mean, I think it looks great. The only thing I would say is that there's still a lot of noise in the snow down here, as well as the foreground here. I would do either some Photoshop stuff to clean it up, or some post-process stuff to clean it up, or we're about to hit the weekend. If you're going to take a Saturday or Sunday away from your computer, just crank up the settings and let it bake for a while, just to kind of clean up some of that noise. Anybody else have any thoughts on this, other than it looks good?
Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah, it really does. All right, cool. So next we'll jump into Darwin's here. So this is first some character lighting submission, looking like, I think it's from the movie Atonement, I think, if I remember right. But yeah, like kind of mimicking this thing. So just looking at this character lighting, we've got some glancing rim, pretty high fill value in the center of his face, a little bit of light kind of creeping around the side here, but mostly it's like rim on his back, and then like bounce fill light, which actually both these characters somehow are getting rimmed. I guess she's standing in the shadow, so it makes sense, but like they're both just getting rim lighting there. So you've kind of got that here. The big thing for you to work on is the skin tone in the central part of the face. Is that you can see like he's got there's some like cool kind of hints to it, but I think we're missing kind of some of those like the warmth in there. So it'll be just like a matter of, let's see. First off, let's just like push up the mid values a little bit. And then it's just a matter of doing some color balancing. So it's a lot of there's a lot of greens in there too. So taking out some of the greens, some yellows, maybe getting some more reds in there. So that, and again, this is just pretty crude. You'd want to do this in the light color, but it starts to take away some of that coolness in his skin. There we go. So you kind of want to maintain that warmth value, even though he's in the shadow. And then in terms of, let's see, actually, let me just put this on top of this. So my computer is definitely running as if I have something like rendering in the background. So once I'm done with this, I'm definitely going to be fully aware of, there's definitely going to be something that I've got running back there that I can't remember what I've got. Anyway, okay, let's put this over the top, and then we'll just A-B it a little bit. So yeah, another big one is like, look at his ears. Right, look how there's like that subsurface scattering popping through there and getting some of our warmth that way. That'll help a lot. Look at the color, the white color of why am I forgetting this actor's name? What's this actor's name? Anyone? Bonus points for Friday? Anyway, this actor, his like, look at his shirt. The white of his shirt is much brighter, so I would kind of match that level. And same thing with like his blue shirt would be similar to like the green of the jacket there, or the red of the tie, just kind of getting in that level. And then just finding opportunities. He's got very like he's very light skinned with a lot of like rosiness in his cheeks and neck and chest and around the collarbones and stuff. So maybe trying to work that in a little like maybe just getting some like the patches of warmth in the skin again, even if he's standing in this kind of cool light. But other than that, it's off to a good start. And then with the eyes, this is just a thing with the eyes of this character. His eyes almost look like marbles sometimes. So just make sure that you're like checking I think it's the reflectivity of it. It's almost like they're like almost like mirror balls, so that it's bright here, dark here. And then for the eye dings, it kind of feels like the light's coming in from the other way, so I'd flip them to the other side, lessen their intensity, and just kind of soften them, because they look like they're reflecting the main light source, and since it's kind of rim, it's more like an eye ding is more of like the reflection of it. But really good start overall. All right, we got Gisella. A lot of Mr. Bean today. So same. Look at like still looking pretty good. We got you've got the warmth in here now. I think we can work some more specular highlights into the skin, especially along like here and up there. And then I would watch out for, like, the first thing I saw when I looked at this was like this ring around his eyes. So just either clean that up in Photoshop or figure out what's causing that in the render. This looks great up here. I love that, like the highlight where it's kind of picking up the follicles of the hair. You've got it coming down his shoulder. You've got some good, this is a good fill value. It's a nice warm to cool fall off. It's just that his skin almost looks a little bit papery. And so it's just a matter of getting some more specular highlights in there to kind of mix that up a little bit. But yeah, everything else is looking really nice. You could also try and get a tighter, cooler specular highlight somewhere in this part of his hair just to kind of break that up a little bit. And that would just be a matter of putting a plane or maybe a light, but probably a plane to kind of reflect just some extra. You can see it in my hair here, like just some like little specular highlights over there. But yeah, this is looking really good. And also his I would brighten his eye whites just a touch, and then maybe get a little more saturation in his iris color to get his like eye color to pop. Again, that won't match probably the reference of the person, but just in CG characters, we tend to make the eyes pop a little bit more strongly. All right, Miguel, and then we've got last up we have Ubed's Unreal scene. So again, I still love this shot. I think this looks really beautiful. No notes on this one. The biggest thing for me is that like I want to so. I had the pleasure of doing some portfolio reviews for gaming students and talking to other people who have more gaming experience than I do. And one of the things that they like to look for in these is like, this stuff is all great, but if you're going to apply for a gaming company, they want to see a fly through of the environment. So I think that would be like the next step for you. Would just be like this, because basically I just want to see how all of these individual rooms tie together and the kind of the flow between them. So the reason why this one works so well, bright brights, dark darks, lots of composition, everything's like flowing together well, individual like spots of color that all make sense. And so this is going to be the key for any other still that you make for this. So this one's coming in the same vein. I actually think that, and also like the thing that's nice about this is the amount of darkness that you have in here allows the user, the viewer to kind of fill in some of the gaps of detail in it, where like this one, because we've got this very bright light in the foreground, it's showing a lot more stuff that like, how do I say this? So like, you know, this person is shot and the light's kind of, also the light kind of feels like it's behind this character and then still hitting the front of them, and like it's a little bit like I would want it to be a little bit more of like a rim light on here, and also like there's something about like I don't feel a danger here. Like I actually think, and again you can totally let me change this around a little bit. What if it was like this instead? What if this light was off? And what if there was, and again, totally disregard me if this is not the way this is structured or not the way you want to do it. But I love these lights back here. I love the composition back here. I love the lights down here. This light, I think, is just throwing it off for me. So what if we shut that one off and put like a light on the gun itself? So the gun was shining like a spotlight and creating a rim light on these characters. And then we're just like picking up these droplets of blood. It's basically like, I just don't feel like there's I see the blood on the ground, and I see the blood on the wall, and I see the silhouette of the woman holding the gun, but I just don't feel like anybody's really in danger. Like it doesn't feel intense enough. And so I feel like either seeing a muzzle flash or like something that like would indicate that this is what's going on, as opposed to like, it kind of feels like soft angelic light hitting them. But that's how I would change that one out. This shot I think actually looks really good. Like I love this light. I love all the shaping that's happening over here. The only note that I have on the left-hand side of the screen is just that this is like a tarp over top of something, and it looks like it just blends into the ground. I would just be conscious and make sure that it's either the geometry is not penetrating the ground, or that the shaders are different enough that it doesn't feel like one thing, because it just kind of feels like this is growing out of the ground. And then all this stuff over here on the far right looks good. It's just this one wall is getting a little bit too reflective. I would basically just tone it down overall. And then for the death word in the back, it feels a little bit too perfect. Like everything else feels kind of splattery and beat up. Like the death is very much like very literal. And then I would also push a little more color into it too, if you could. So just break it up with a little more patterning, and then get the color in there. And then this shot I think looks really good. So this one's nice because it's like do you see it? We've got the overhead light, but it's like you've allowed it to, like, it doesn't push as far into the scene as this one does. And it's creating just like a nice little bit. So I don't really have any notes on this one. So overall, just the notes I said, I think this looks really good. And I just think that I would like to see, if you are going to apply for a gaming company, I'd just like to see a fly through and see how these rooms kind of piece together. I just think it'd be awesome. I think it'd be cool to see. All right, everybody, that's all we have for today and for the rest of the week. So unless there's anything else, I will see you all back. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you all next week. Okay?
Thank you.
All right, thank you all.
Thank you.
All right, be good, everyone. Talk to you soon.